Hi everyone, it's Mrs. McInnes here. Welcome to the first lesson in our new topic, which is going to be a second part to trigonometry. So in the previous unit of work, we spent a lot of time working on trig graphs, trig equations and trig identities. We are now going to be moving on to a different branch of trigonometry where we're going to be looking at three things, which are the area formula and then two rules called the sine and cosine rule. So the first thing we need to do in this topic is we need to learn about how we name triangles, okay? So to be able to use the three formulas that I mentioned just there, the area formula, the sine rule and the cosine rule, we need to be able to name our triangles so that we know which side and which angle we're using in the formulas and which ones we're actually being asked to find with these formulas. So in maths, what we do is we name the sides as the small letter of the angle that it's across from. Okay, so you can see here in our triangle, we have capital letters in the corner. So we have a capital letter A and a capital letter B, and then we have a capital letter C. What we do is straight across from those sides, we have the small case letter that matches. Okay, so straight across from that capital A, we have a small a. Straight across from the capital letter B, we have a small b. And then straight across from the capital letter C, we have a small case letter C. Okay, now what you'll find is that if in the question it's not A, B and C, all you would do in that case is you would switch out the letters that are in the question to match the ones that you're used to using in the formulas. So for example, if your question was maybe P, Q and R, you would just put those in the right place in the formula instead of A, B and C. Okay, so all you have to do is make the formula fit the question you've got in front of you. Okay, so as we go through, you'll get very used to these formulas, which sides, which angles we're using to find various different things. Okay, so let's have a wee look at the first part of this topic, which is going to be using what's called the area formula to find the area of a triangle. So here we have our formula here. And to be able to find the area of any triangle, so any triangle at all this will work for, what we need is we need the length of two sides and the angle that's in between those two sides. So if you have those three pieces of information, we can use the formula to find out the area of that triangle. So your formula is just here in this grey box here. It's area equals half AB sine C. So it's the small case letter A and B, so that's your two sides, and then the capital letter C would be the angle that's between those two sides that you've got. Okay, so if I just illustrate this on the little diagram just to the side here, you would need to know the two sides and the angle that's in between those two sides. That's the pieces of information that you need to then go on and find the area of a given triangle. So let's try a couple of examples. This is a really straightforward formula to work with. It's really simple to calculate. So here we have, for example, 1a, to find the area of the triangle shown, and we have an equilateral triangle of side 4 centimetres. So the first thing you'd want to do is that if you don't have letters A, B and C on the picture, or a different set of three letters, you would put in your three letters. So we're going to go for A, B and C. And then what we can do is we can do the small case letters straight across. So small letter A, small letter B there, and a small letter C there. So you're told here that this is an equilateral triangle of side 4 centimetres. So every side is 4 centimetres. So I'm going to write that on my picture here. And then what we would also need is we would need the angles in this triangle. So because this is an equilateral triangle, all we have to do is just do 180 degrees in a triangle divided by 3 equal angles in a triangle. So each one of those is 60 degrees. So each one of these is 60. So we can go ahead and fill that in. So let's write out our formula. So area equals half AB sine C. Now for this example here, we have got all three sides and all three angles. So I'm going to use the letters that are in this formula. I'm going to use those numbers. So side A is a 4 centimetres. So we've got half times 4. And then the side that's labelled as B is also a 4. And then we have sine of angle C, which is 60 degrees. So sine 60. All you would do there is just type that all into your calculator. So half times 4 times 4 times sine 60, and that's going to give you 6.9282 and so on. So we would just round our answer to something sensible. So let's go for one decimal place. So 6.9, and this question's in centimetres, so it's an area, so it'll be centimetres squared. So you need to remember your units for these questions. Okay, the next example here, we have a triangle that's labelled A, B and C. Now we've been given two sides, and if you remember just up at the top, this little line here, you need to know the length of two sides and the angle in between those two sides. So the two sides that you've got there, you don't have the angle in between those, but what you can do is you can go ahead and fill that in yourself. Okay, so it might be the case sometimes that you don't have the angle that you need, but you might have the other two. So you just work out that third angle so that you have the angle that's sitting between the two lengths that you are being given. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out what that angle is. So 180 degrees in a triangle, I'm going to take away 43, and I'm also going to take away 70. Okay, so if you work all that out, you're going to get 67 degrees for that angle that was just missing there. Okay, so I'm going to just label my triangle now with the small case letters for my sides. So across from the capital A, the 4.6 would be your small letter A. Straight across from the capital letter B, we've got letter B, so there's nothing down here, but that's fine. And then for capital letter C, straight across, that makes the 7.2 metres, the small letter C. So your formula for area of a triangle, now you're using the two sides and then the angle in between. So if you'll notice here, the angle that we have here is letter B. So instead of sine C at the end of the formula, it's going to be sine B, because that's the angle between the two sides. So what that means is that when you write this formula to fit the question, in this case it's going to be half of AC and then sine B. Okay, so whatever letter you have for the angle, it's the other two letters that are your small case letters, because that'll be the two lengths either side. So this is what we're talking about when we say make the formula fit the question that you have in front of you. Okay, so the angle should always be the capital letter at the end of your formula. The other two letters would be your two sides. So now we can go ahead and just fill this in. So we've got 1/2 times side A, that's 4.6. Side C, that's 7.2, and then we have sine of capital letter B, which is 67, which we just worked out. And you would just go ahead and type that into your calculator. So 1/2 times 4.6 times 7.2 times sine of 67. We are going to get 15.243, so on. So again, we'll go for one decimal place here. So 15.2, and this question's in metres, so metres squared would be your units. So let's begin with just some basic practice of using this formula. So in the Unit 4 booklet, we are going to be looking today at page 26, question 1 and question 2. So remember, if you need to maybe fill in an angle first, make sure you do that. And make sure you use the correct letters. Question 1, I believe, has most of those questions. It's the two sides and the angle between are already given to you. There's a couple of questions in one where you have to fill in that third angle yourself first. Question 2, you have to calculate the area of a parallelogram. Now, a parallelogram is just two triangles. So if you split your parallelogram into two triangles, work out the area of one triangle with the formula we've just done, you would then be doubling your answer to have the area of the full parallelogram. Okay, make sure you also have your units for every question. So these are area questions, so it should always be centimetre squared, metre squared, millimetre squared, whatever the units in the question is going to be. Okay, so just make sure that you're always using the two sides with the angle between those two sides for your formulas. Okay, if anyone's got any questions, please come on the Teams page and ask, and please remember to mark your work from the back of the booklet where the answers are, and then email me a photo of your work so I can keep track of how we're getting on. All right, thanks guys for listening, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.